A bunch of things have changed in Iratus, Lord of the Dead, from when I initially covered it during the summer of 2019, and if you remember, I said that I'd be returning to check in with the game from time to time. So join me for a quick overview of what's been added to Iratus, Lord of the Dead in the meanwhile. If this is the first time on my channel, welcome, I'm Steven Ansons, geek culture analyst, necromancer extraordinaire. I bring you indie RPG strategy and city builder reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy what I'm trying to do here. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back, and remember to click that bell button, it really helps a lot. Pretty sure you already know what this is about if you're watching the video, but let me offer a quick description of Iratus Lord of the Dead in case you don't. It's kinda like Darkest Dungeon if you were playing at a dungeon. Only in this particular case you play as Iratus, a massively powerful necromancer who was defeated 1,000 years ago, but now you're back and ready to get your revenge upon the mortal races that took you down initially. A lot of your units, or minions, have had their abilities modified tremendously, and the same happened to the enemies. The entire experience of the game seems considerably more balanced now than it did initially. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't make it less fun. No way, it makes it, I think, more challenging, because it makes you play the game in a more tactical way. What do I mean by this? Well, you might have to sacrifice some minions now and again in some battles just to get a better idea of the type of threat a particular encounter poses. Until you learn what each enemy type does, that is. Namely, you won't want to engage in a fight with enemies that are immune to stress damage if you're running a stress team as your main. So that's when you get a scout or expendable team to see what's what. On the other hand, you now generally get a preview of the types of enemies you'll have to deal with, which helps a lot, and there is also a retreat button, neither of these features being present in the initial version I played. Another thing that didn't exist in the game initially are two spells allowing you to move minions one place forward or one back, which can help you out a lot to get those combos going. There are several new difficulty settings, and each of them will mean that you have to approach the game with different strategies and minions, because what works on one difficulty setting will not work just as well on a higher one. Minion alternate skins were introduced in the meanwhile as well. This existed from the beginning for backers, but now everybody has access to special skins if you logged in during particular timed events. You won't get the backer skins, but what the devs offer during the events are quite cool nonetheless. I only got the holiday season ones because I missed the Halloween event. Looking forward to more of them being added as the game goes on. Speaking of units, both new minions and new enemies have been added as well. I won't spend any real time on the new enemies because they're basically there just for parts anyway. The new minions are the Ghoul, a squishy but powerful physical damage dealer who can regenerate by eating up enemies under certain circumstances. The Unfrozen, obviously inspired by the Game of Thrones White Walkers, I mean just look at this spear ability. The Unfrozen is the only minion who can remove traps. His abilities generally affect enemies' initiative, but he can also protect other minions. The Black Widow is arguably the creepiest minion yet. Weird and very thematic. She is a serious debuffer with a self-regenerative ability. The developers are still super hard at work on adding content to and polishing Iratus. There are lots more things to add content-wise, but we knew this. They are listening to community feedback, and everything that has been added to the game has had a positive effect on the gameplay experience, at least as far as I'm concerned. I'll continue playing it and update you with a new video whenever a new major update is released. If you are still on the fence, it's pretty safe to jump into the early access right about now. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Steven Ansons, and see you next time.